And away we go. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome, one and all, to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, have a little bit of dialogue with those of you who were able to join us for the live portion. And if you are listening somewhere else and you would like to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That is at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat, and you can find me on fistfulofradio.com. There it is. Podcasting out of Atlanta Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at noon, unless otherwise specified. Naturally, I do read through as many of the comments as is reasonable for the benefit of those of you who are listening and not able to see. And I'll go ahead and say hello to some of the people that have chimed in so far. I see Helter is here today. Dragon is here. Brian. Donna Beaver, who says thumbs up, like, and share. Please do. Country Livin', who says they're having a beautiful day in Minnesota. Raccoon is here so far as we get ready to jump off into the realm of the ridiculous and see what's going on in the world. No felines in the room again. They used to hang around with me more. I guess me talking constantly gets on their nerves. Anyways, as we get ready to shift around, naturally we are getting close to the election. Oh, I got more election mail to share. You'll love this. You'll love this one. The best intimidation bullying email yet. The best one yet. I love it. And I see True Vine is here, as well as Fluke Man. Thanks for joining us today. Naturally, we got the election coming up, and so there's a lot of talk, especially about Kamala Harris, as more and more is revealed about her. I really do not like this woman. New York Post article. Kamala Harris town hall host Maria Shriver shuts down Michigan voter hoping to ask a question. Quote, "We have predetermined questions." Aha. So here we go. Former California First Lady and journalist Maria Shriver revealed, is she really a journalist? Journalist is one of those titles that we throw around now. Everybody's a damn journalist. It's kind of like how singers, they say everybody who's in the music industry is an artist. It's an artist. If they can sing two notes, they're an artist. You're not an artist if you can sing, especially if you're using auto-tune. You are not an artist if you can rudimentally play a basic instrument. These people are not artists. They are musical performers. They're not creative and they're not creating anything. And a journalist implies someone who gets out there and finds stories and finds facts and presents them to people because they feel like they really need to know. This is a reporter, which is essentially an actor who presents the news, reads a teleprompter. This is not a journalist. I'm really sick and tired of everybody being a damn journalist. So here we go. I know I jumped all over the place. Former California First Lady and journalist Maria Shriver revealed that only, quote, predetermined questions were allowed to be asked of Vice President Kamala Harris at a Michigan town hall event on Monday. Quote from the audience, "Are we going to be able to ask a question?" A woman attending the Oakland County event asked Shriver ahead of Harris taking the stage with former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, according to Daily Mail. And Shriver shut her down. You're not. Unfortunately, we have some predetermined questions. Hopefully, hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head, Shriver added. So basically, hopefully, what she's suggesting is one of the setup questions that we arranged for her, because this is theater, this is staged, we have preset questions that she already has predetermined answers provided for. might match what you're thinking of. And I doubt it. I doubt it. And Country says she's about as much of a journalist as Whoopi Goldberg. Indeed. And Moki is here. Raccoon wants to know if she's still with Arnold. No, I think that's long since over with. Jericho says, oh, you're a journalist. Where's your journal? Yeah, no kidding. Brian says, plus they sing with auto equipment. Without it, they sound worse than Harris having an orgasm. Oh, no. You know what really I hate right now? Off topics slightly, since auto-tune was brought up. That one, I think it's an insurance commercial, and it has the two guys that were from the show Scrubs, the comedy show Scrubs, and they're singing, and the auto-tune is set so high on it, it makes my ears ring whenever that commercial comes on. And I'm like, oh God, shut up. The pitch on the auto-tune is so freaking high that it's unbearable to me. Dragon says one thing Shriver has in common with Harris is both their husbands had an extramarital affair with the nanny. Wow. Country says that's the meaning of town hall. People get to come with questions they want answers to. What a joke. I know. And Kimberly has joined us. Kimberly has joined us. And Raccoon says Arnold's son with the nanny is on Gen 5. I don't know what that is. Is that a TV show? Flukeman says same people say modern art only has one color is art, then sells them for millions. That's money laundering, by the way. The painting of Ukrainian flag auctioned for 40 million. God, I'm in the wrong business. Helter says so they hired a few actors to read the predetermined questions for Kamala's predetermined answers. Correct. Something like that. Something like that. So they came, and it goes on here, the quote, that's not a town hall, that's called a stage production. It is theater. And here they are, kissy kissy. Isn't that cute? I'm surprised they didn't stick together. They're both wearing a 1/4 inch of foundation. And Raccoon says, yes, it's a spinoff from The Boys. Okay, I have no idea. It's a TV show. It's a regular TV show. It's not a reality show or some garbage. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of that stuff. But especially The Boys. I tried to watch that, and it's way too vulgar for my taste. All of the vulgar language and gratuitous sex. I don't like to see a lot of that. And League of Smoke has joined us just in time to see Shriver and Harris. Harris reliving how she became a politician in the first place. I'm sure there's a photo shoot of her like that somewhere. So yeah, exposed theater, predetermined questions with predetermined answers is not a town hall. It's not a town hall. It's not a press conference. Nothing like that. It's complete theater. It's staged. And they openly admitted it was staged. And of course, it leaked. It got out. It got out. And now everybody knows. What's going to be done about it? Anything? Anyone going to do anything about that? Does anyone care? Poor Michigan voter had a question. Sidelined. Sidelined. While we're on the subject of Kamala Harris, this shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. New plagiarism charges from a different subject. Not on the same book, not on her 2000. It was ghostwritten. This is an entirely new subject. Washington accused of plagiarism for the second time. Because, now that they're digging into it, they'll find more. Country says, what happens when a politician has to make real-world decisions when they can't even take questions? They're not going to be able to. You recall what we discussed a few days ago, and Tommy Annie has a quote from Proverbs. I'll put it up there for you guys to read. That when she left the interview with Bear, and again, It's rumor mill stuff, but apparently she cussed the guy out, yelled at him, told him that he was a dirty MAGA nut job. I think that was the quote, dirty MAGA nut job, that she yelled at the staff. She insisted that the interview, the Fox interview, be edited, which of course there was no time for because she showed up late and they only had a few minutes to airtime by the time the interview was finished. And then started to cry and then yelled at her campaign manager on the phone for the next 30 minutes, cussed her out. What kind of decisions do you think someone like that is going to make when it regards an entire country? When people's lives are on the line? And they are. When you're at that level in politics, decisions you make, people will kill and die over. She's not the one. She's not the one. Country says, yeah, that's what we need as president, level-headedness. But here we are, Washington Examiner. Vice President Kamala Harris has been accused of plagiarism for the second time in as many weeks, this time including congressional testimony that she gave as a district attorney, and at least one instance of lifting material from Wikipedia. And that's outside of the book. These are new charges. According to the Washington Free Beacon, Harris lifted much of her 2007 testimony before Congress from a Republican district attorney in Illinois named Paul Logley. She also allegedly copied a paragraph from Wikipedia in a 2012 report on human trafficking. In a third instance, the outlet reported Harris passed off a fictionalized story about a sex trafficking victim as fact, only changing the location to San Francisco, where Harris was the district attorney at the time, effectively giving her office credit for helping this pretend person. That's pretty bad. Overall, the outlet highlighted 7 instances of plagiarism, comparing them to similar scandals in the past, including the one that sunk President Joe Biden's 1987 White House bid, and an instance where former First Lady Melania Trump was accused of stealing material from former First Lady Michelle Obama. The Washington Examiner has contacted the Harris and Trump campaigns seeking comment, and they didn't get any reply. And then it goes on to remind you that last week Harris was accused of plagiarizing in her 2009 book Smart on Crime, including portions that resembled Wikipedia entries. They didn't resemble, they copied them completely with 1 or 2 word changes. 1 or 2 word changes. But I mean, this is the one that really gets me. Never mind the plagiarism. Never mind the plagiarism. This one gets me. Harris passed off a fictionalized story about a sex trafficking victim as fact, only changing the location to San Francisco. So she read a story about a fictional story, plagiarized it, claimed it was a real person, and then attributed it to something that she was involved with in San Francisco. Quote, effectively giving her office credit for helping the pretend person. And got away with it until now. But now that it's exposed, what's going to be done? Jericho says, was that confirmed? I remember it was a rumor. I missed if you said it was or not. As far as I know, it's still not officially confirmed, Jericho. I just think it's plausible. And like I said, rumor mill stuff circulating on the internet. League says, can't take a joke, can't take questions. All she can take are pills and, yes, anatomy, we'll say. Dragon says, of course she did. She has no original thoughts of her own. Ask Biden. He'll tell you all about plagiarism. And you see the difference in timelines, because when he ran for president in 87, the Democrat Party asked him to step down because he was caught plagiarizing. Now, apparently, it's cool. Helter says her response to the second plagiarism charge, I grew up in a middle-class family. That is right. And Kimberly made a donation to the channel, says, for the kiddies. Yes, thank you, Kimberly, of course. Every bit helps. Very much appreciated, Kimberly. Because we need all the help we can get with these felines. So thank you again. Flukeman says Kamala must have freaked so much it made everyone believe she was possessed by a demon. And there's Tuck joining us. Glad you could make it today. And Gary Edwards is here. Says cheaters never prosper except in politics. Often cheaters do prosper. That's a nice sentiment. Or no crime goes unsolved. Or guilty until proven, or innocent until proven guilty. I almost Freudian slipped that one. Innocent until proven guilty. They're all fantasy. Crime doesn't pay. It depends, because a lot of people get away with a lot of stuff. Country says her office is still involved in sex trafficking just across the southern border. And we'll do one more on Kamala Harris. And then I'm going to show you the greatest piece for those of you tuning in of attempted coercion from political mail I've seen yet. This one takes the cake. This is kindergarten class stuff. It is so bad. You'll love this. But we'll just do one more from Harris, because she's, man, the stuff that's coming up from her in the news, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If she wins the election, there are lizard people in charge. It comes from Sky News Australia, because that's how far I had to go to get a solid story on this one. Okay. It says Kamala Harris mocks a student claiming Jesus is Lord for being at the wrong rally. Sky News host James McPherson says Kamala Harris tells lone pro-life student in crowd they were at the wrong rally for calling out Jesus as Lord. Talking about the war on Christianity while Kamala Harris was promoting abortion without limits, the entire crowd erupted in loud cheers, but then a lone student in the crowd called out Jesus is Lord, Mr. McPherson says. Instinctively and without pause, Kamala mocked him, telling him he was at the wrong rally. At the wrong rally. And I do believe, was this when she was at the, because she's been doing the circuit, or she did the circuit in Georgia over the weekend of the wealthy Black Baptist churches. She did the ones that Fonnie Willis went around to, the black churches with all the money, the black churches that always have political guests, that have like $50,000 jumbotrons hanging on stage. Those churches, the ones where the Bible is never opened, you know the ones I'm talking about, and somebody yells out Jesus is Lord. She could have just ignored that. She didn't have to mock the guy. Kimberly says you're welcome. Indeed, Kimberly. Indeed, Kimberly. I always appreciate it whenever anybody's able to help the channel out. But she ran that gambit this weekend, especially on Sunday, obviously, because that's when most people go to church. And the mega black, very wealthy, believe it, Atlanta churches are very political. Remember, Warnock is a preacher in one of them, Senator Warnock, pro-abortion, pro-transmogrification, pro-everything that the Bible speaks out against. Country says Baptist religion preaches against abortion, and she calls herself a Baptist. There you are. And Monkey has joined us today. Dragon says she goes on a talk show and discusses her involvement in the black church. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what, you know, she went to the church every Sunday and sang in the choir, and then she'd come home and fill up her bathtub with collard greens. Because that's how we do it down south. And has she ever been down south? Except to visit a church, of course. Has she ever been down south? She's been down south as many times as she's been to the border. Probably more, obviously, because they love going to these churches, especially Ebenezer Baptist. because that's the focal point of all of them, because that's where Martin Luther King was from. And but at this point, it was a political church then because of the activism, but now it's straight up political. Bernie Sanders comes to town, he's going to talk at Ebenezer Baptist. If Hillary Clinton comes to town, she's going to talk at Ebenezer Baptist, and it's going to be all Democrat, and it's going to be all abortion rights, and gay rights, and whatever else, and black people are downtrodden. You know what really makes me sick about those churches in Atlanta? Again, these are very wealthy churches, mega churches, black churches in the Atlanta area, talking about oppression all the time. Who in those churches are oppressed? You explain it to me. Who in those churches are oppressed? Those people are very wealthy who attend those churches. And Country Living says complete definition of hypocrisy. And my wife and I visited one once, and they had a separation. They had a separate section on the back end where the undesirable people are expected to go. So if you're homeless or whatever, you go in the back door of I can't remember which church it is. I'm going to have to ask her later. And if I remember, I'll mention it tomorrow if she remembers the name of the church. Up front, massive church, big jumbo, 2 or 3 big jumbotrons hanging in there, seats for thousands. But around the corner, where if you don't quite fit the bill, you go into the little section where the junior pastor is, who preaches to the homeless people, and then they get to go have lunch. And I remember him having to apologize because he was up there doing his thing, and he had to apologize for passing the plate. He says, I have to do this because the church authority here demands it. You all know you don't have to put a damn thing in there. I don't care, but they make me do it. And I'm like, wow, dude, you need to be somewhere else, because this church there's something really wrong with its administration. Colorado Outing says twice in a row they made it. Glad you're here. And he says something about the Second Amendment, and I'm going to post that for everybody to take a look at. But I want to get to my mail because I've been chomping at the bit. Some of this political mail is cracking me up. Too much cracking me up. This one, I'll show this the top half of this one, I think, right here, right? I'll cover the address. It says, your neighbors are watching. Your neighbors are watching. Have you voted yet? My neighbors are watching me. They're watching. I don't think they have the nerve. They don't have the nerve to watch me do anything. Kimberly says Warnock tried to run over his pregnant wife. There is video footage of that. There is video footage of from the police body cams from that incident, and they're propping her up, and she's blubbering, crying. Big Shooter says, like on Animal House when they escort you to a different room. Yeah, that's right. And they have the 4 foreigners sitting on the sofa, and that's was that Omega House? And he was like Niedermeyer, not Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer was the guy who was from ROTC. Flounder. His nickname was Flounder. That actor lost a lot of weight when he was on Babylon 5. But anyway, he was like, oh, nice to meet you. Have you met so-and-so? And they bring him right back where they dumped him in the first place. And they got one guy sitting there in a turban, and they got one guy who looks like he's from India. And it's like, have you met so-and-so? He was like, actually, we have met. Good. Then you have something in common. But anyways, this is the latest piece of mail, okay? This is the latest piece of mail. And can you see what this is? Look at that. Look at my award. Look at that. Great Citizen Award. Sign here. And here's the seal. and it's presented by Tom Lopak, who is the president of the Voter Participation Center. Okay, great citizen for the November 5th general election. They sent me an award. I have to put my own name on there. I should take this out. It peels off. I should take that out and frame it and put it on a chain and wear it around my neck so everybody can see. And the article reads, "Thank you for registering to vote." Okay, I got to stop right there because I did not register to vote. No one in Georgia did. The DMV automatically registers you. You have no choice. And in order to opt out of being registered, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. My wife tried for months and was unable. She kept getting redirected to different offices, told to call this person, call that person, go to this office on that day. And then she got finally unregistered and they put her back on. It's pulling teeth. You can't freaking do it. Brian says their neighbors have a sign that says they vote for Kamala over Trump because she is for unity over diversity and truth over lies. Yeah, wow. And Monkey says they get that voter participation center, but except it's sent from Columbus. And Country says, do they really think people will believe these mailings? I don't know. But let me finish reading this. I just automatically had a problem with them saying, thank you for registering to vote, because I did not. Neither of us did. You forced us to be registered because you automatically did it at the DMV without our knowledge or consent, which is how most states are doing it now. To say thank you in advance for being a voter this year, we've included our Great Citizen Award! Exclamation point. Some of the most important things we do never get recognized. Well, technically that's true. We've already given you the award, and now you can do your part to earn it. Okay. There is an important election on Tuesday, November 5th. After you vote, sign your name on the award and keep it as a reminder that you're a great voter. Gee whiz. Golly gee. And then comes the intimidation. See, first, this is coercion. Okay? That's a soft coercion. Now comes the bullying. All caps. Remember, who you vote for is private, but whether or not you vote is public record. After the election, we may check the voter record to see who we will send awards to next time. You mean if I don't vote, I won't get another one? Oh, shit. Special note. We included some helpful information on the back of this certificate to help you to earn your reward. Oh my God. And then it's got voting options for November 5th printed on the back there. Oh, how old do they think I am? Do they think this is like first grade? Oh, snap. I got a new Great Citizen Award. Oh, no. My son, when he was in junior high school, got one of these. Not a voter one, but it was a Great Citizen Award like this, similar to this, bigger, like typing paper size, that they gave him at the school. And I think he was in the 6th grade. Okay. And he comes home with it. And he says, I got this citizen award, award for being a citizen. And he showed it to me. He was like, what does this mean? And I said, do you live in the United States? And he said, yes. And I said, are you a natural born citizen here? And he was like, yes. And I said, congratulations, you're a citizen. You're a citizen. And he was like, so the award's not worth anything. It doesn't mean anything. I was like, no, it doesn't. It's pointless. It's just something they do for dumb people to make them feel good. I'm glad you figured that out. Because that's why he was asking me. He was like, what the hell is this? Oh, no. Big Shooter says, congrats, you've already voted twice in Atlanta as a Democrat. Probably. I probably voted 50 times as Democrat and didn't know it. Raccoon says the voice was awesome. Yeah, that's funny. King Lear. King Lear. Who you vote for is private. And I keep hearing that too. Who you vote for is private. But whether or not you vote is public record. See? Your neighbors are watching. Have you voted yet? Your neighbors are watching. That's what this mailer says. My neighbors are watching. You want to know something? I seriously doubt anyone in this neighborhood would dare look up and see if I voted or not. Or would care. Your friends and family will know. Will they? People in my family are trying to look up my voting record to see if I voted or not. Please, who cares that much? Anyone who cares that much and is going to stick their nose that far in your business doesn't need to be your friend. Okay? You don't need to deal with someone who's like that. That's toxic. That's like being an emotional vampire. Bill, I just wanted to let you know, man, I looked up your public voting record and you missed the last call to vote. Get the hell out of here. Seriously, don't ever talk to me again. Country Living says, sounds like something Harris Waltz would do. She likes to talk to us like preschoolers. Fluke Man says, the amount of voting in politic mails the entire nation receives will be cheaper if everyone uses a dollar bill for toilet paper. Country Living says, pretty soon they'll be giving awards to non-citizens. Oh, wait, they already do. Gary Edwards, Gold Stars, Participation Awards, Crackerjack toys. Hey, at least it would be nice if you at least got the Cracker Jack toy. You can't even get a Cracker Jack prize anymore. Take a look in a box of Cracker Jacks. Ain't nothing in there. Nothing. There's a scanning code or some bullshit. Monkey says he gets the same. I get that someone might have gotten that letter and put in a random dictator's name for the laughs. Gary says the elections are rigged. Voting validates the two-party scam. But yeah, I mean, I really, really don't care. You go ahead and look up my voting record and see if I give a damn. And then here's this one. Vote for our families, our communities, and our progress. Our progress. And I guess by that they mean black people, because this is an NAACP mailer, and it's all black people on there and gay couples. Oh, my NAACP. Hold on, let me flip this around. Look at this. Look at this. What? How should I imply that? Just asking. I could assume they're showing a generation here, maybe. But you know, most people, that's the first instinct nowadays. Like what I just did. I could be wrong. We need leaders who will do what? Hold big corporations accountable for the rising costs of gas, groceries, and rent. That's a Biden-Harris talking point. Big corporations are responsible. Got nothing to do with taxes or regulations. Nothing. Fund education from pre-K until career readiness to ensure our children are prepared for the future. We already do that. I don't know about career readiness, but that implies 2-year college, which they're trying to make state funded now. They've been pushing for that for a while. Provide access to quality, affordable health care and lower prescription drug costs. Again, you know, if you're in the poverty level, you don't pay for that stuff at all. It's all on the taxpayer's bill. We already know this. Fight for democracy by standing up for our voting rights. Who's keeping you from voting? Who? Who is keeping you from voting? Keep our community safe by funding measures for additional gun safety. Additional gun safety to keep your community safe. Not more law enforcement, not more police, not more funding for your local sheriff. Gun safety programs. Thanks, NAACP. Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. We have always been a voice for change because there is power in our vote. Thanks to us, capitals. Laws have been passed to provide access to education, housing, and voting rights. We've come too far to stop now. Yeah, maybe once upon a time, many, many decades ago, generations ago, in bygone days when our great-great-grandparents were around. But are you still the same NAACP? I doubt it. It's just like unions. Kimberly says their son received a good citizenship award in 8th grade. I was told it was a teacher's vote. Oh, please. I doubt that. It's just a piece of paper they print off and they just hand out to anybody. Monkey says elections are the one event where people get triggered over having to be ID'd, but doesn't question it when it comes to getting into bars or items at the store or anything else. Anything else. The whole main purpose behind getting ID'd is to make sure you don't vote twice, to make sure you're not cheating the system. Like in Gangs of New York. A lot more realistic than you might believe, the way that they ran that for the election cycle, where they got all the people off the docks, all the people off the ships who didn't even live in New York, had them vote, and then sent them to the barbershop and cleaned them up and sent them back through again so they wouldn't be recognized. Oh my God. Oh my God. But yeah, they say that the main argument, and this is Stacey Abrams' argument, that, oh, black people don't have ID. What planet are you living on? What do you think this is, 1910? What year are you living in? What century? That black people don't have ID. They treat them. They act like every black person is poor and dumb and ignorant. And somehow black people are not offended by this. I don't get it. Why are you not offended? You should be offended by this. You should be offended by how the black leadership looks at you. I don't get it. Stacey Abrams. Oh, black people don't have ID. The poor black folks don't have it. How are they getting their welfare? How are they getting their health care? How are they getting their Social Security? For those who are working, how are they getting their W-2s filled out? How are they getting bank accounts? I mean, seriously, is there anyone who doesn't have an ID who's old enough to work in this country? Flukeman says, why would they say your neighbors are watching you? That's what Nazis did, their own people, but claims to be anti-racist. Yeah, I know. That is, and they do that. And you saw, I mean, I'll hold it up one more time in case nobody saw that. Is this the one? Yeah. Your neighbors are watching. Have you voted yet? I'll hold the card up one more time. Your neighbors are watching. No, they're not. And like I said, nobody watches me out here. My neighbors don't come near here. The only time a neighbor came to this house, twice. I'll fix that. The first time, it was when Monkey was brought here. Somebody from way down the road, I don't even know who she was, heard, I guess, or saw that we take care of cats, and brought me Monkey because she's the one that he was in the engine of her car and got burned. Do you take care of cats? Are you missing a kitten? Can you help me? And I took Monkey. I took him in. Okay. And New York Patriot is here. Glad you could make it. He says it's the soft bigotry of low expectations. I know it. Flukeman says not offensive to say blacks don't have ID, but racist if you offer lazy bums a job. I guess so. The other time, and you want to talk about the ultimate in your hoarding experience, okay? from somewhere out here in the neighborhood, right? There was a yard sale being had, and there's an older lady. There's a couple, but it was an older lady doing it and had her garage all pulled out and having a yard sale. And you could tell there it was kind of a hoarder situation looking at the house. And we bought something. What did we buy? I bought a drill. And she came like a few days later, knocking at the door. She found us, wanted to buy it back. She was going around to everybody that bought something at the yard sale and buying the stuff back that her husband and her daughter had sold at the yard sale. That's a new one. That's a new one on me as far as hoarding is concerned. Question. Have you heard of the contest that Elon Musk is doing? I'm going to pull it up for you. The contest, if you're in the United States, and I'm going to show you this and where to find it, okay? It's every day. It's a petition in favor of free speech and the right to bear arms. And it's on Elon Musk's website. And if you sign the petition, you're entered in a contest. And every day there is $1 million winner randomly drawn. And if you haven't, if you're interested, I'm going to throw it up here real quick so you can see it. And Tuck says, "Holy smokes, yeah." And those are the 3 people that have won so far: October 19th, 20th, and 21st. Every day, $1 million. Also, you'll get $47 for each registered voter you refer that also signs the petition. And Pennsylvania, it's more for some reason. Okay. And so first name, email address, last name. And then did someone refer you, email or cell phone number? So you can check, you can find this page. I'll tell you, I'm going to put the email address. I'm going to copy it and paste it into the message board here so that you can find it directly. Okay, there's the email address. If you want to sign the petition, if you feel like signing a petition in favor of free speech and the right to bear arms, and maybe you'll get randomly drawn for $1 million. And I'll put my email address, if you wouldn't mind, put my email address for the referral. And I'll put that right there. Monkey says, from the looks of it, it's the swing states that only can sign up. No, I don't. I think it's only the swing states. I don't know. I think it's only the swing states that are entered in the contest, but anybody can register. Or anybody can sign the petition, rather. Kimberly says, did you see the video of some guy asking black people if they knew how to get a state ID? They all knew where and how. Of course. Of course. But yeah, if anybody is interested, you can sign the petition whether you're in that state or not, I believe. If you're in these states, there's 7 of them. You can enter the contest for a random drawing. And again, if you wouldn't mind, you could put me, if you don't mind, for the referral. Chris says, when did this go live? Like 3 days ago. Yeah, and I had a time. The reason I put it up is because I had a time finding where the hell where the hell that website even was. I had a real hard time tracking it down because I'm like, where the hell is this petition? Where the hell is this petition? I'll put my email in it. But I thought I would share that in case anybody wanted to use it. As we get back into the news, now that we're all done getting mad at the mail, and I'll get off my soapbox, and we can get back to. Okay, Monkey says it says the program is exclusively open to registered voters, so I couldn't be able to. Okay, I see. I didn't understand. Maybe I misunderstood something then. Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina. Gary says there should be a contest to find a black person who's been prevented from getting an ID. There was, in a manner of speaking. You remember Stacey Abrams and her lawsuits against the state of Georgia for preventing black people from being able to get to the polls, and the lawsuits were thrown out because she could not provide even a single witness who was willing to come to the stand and say that they were not allowed to vote or couldn't vote. So in a manner of speaking, yeah, that happened. That happened. So here we go, talking about South Korea now. ESA News, South Korea to send troops to the Ukraine in response to North Korea, because Lord knows the Koreans are all about tit for tat. If one does something, the other one's got to do it. There's no way around it. Oh, they're still wearing 80s camouflage. The South Korean government plans to send military and intelligence personnel to the Ukraine in response to North Korea sending soldiers to Russia. To be fair, though, those are just engineers. Seoul, is considering the deployment of soldiers, intelligence officers with experience in North Korea, and enemy tactics specialists to Ukraine. This decision comes in reaction to reports of North Korean soldiers fighting on Russia's behalf, which, again, as far as I know, they are not fighting. They're just engineers. I don't even know that they're armed. According to local media, citing a South Korean intelligence representative, personnel from Seoul would assist in interrogation and translation if North Korean soldiers are captured by Ukrainian forces. Additionally, specialists from South Korea would share insights on North Korean military tactics, doctrine, and operations. On Monday, the Southern Korean Ministry of Defense said it would consider supplying arms to Ukraine. Previously, Seoul had only extended humanitarian aid to Kiev. The authorities also indicated they would be sending a delegation to NATO to exchange information on military cooperation between Russia and North Korea. Seoul would take active countermeasures depending upon how the situation evolves. On Friday, South Korean intelligence reported North Korea decided to send 12,000 Special Forces soldiers to Russia, with 1,500 already present on Russia's soil. That doesn't mean they're there, and that doesn't mean they're actually going to do it. And if they are there, it doesn't mean they're going to do anything. The day before, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that Pyongyang plans to prepare 10,000 soldiers to support Russia. He also warned that North Korea's involvement could lead to the outbreak of a world war. Yeah, he would love that. He would love that. Gary says there should be a contest. I read that. And Tuck says he can't sign it. Angry Florida man noises. Oh, no. Oh, well, I'm sorry I brought it up then. Tuck says, I dig the 80s camo, and Helter said Call of Duty Korean War 2 in Europe. I know it. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Here we go. Here we go. I know that I love the hats. So they always have these exaggerated hats, the North Koreans. But I love how they try to one-up each other all the time. North and South Korea are constantly playing tit for tat with each other. They're like the kids on the baseball field, and to see who goes up first, they play grabbies with the bat to see who ends up at the top of the bat. It doesn't make any sense. Well, of course, from a Western perspective, it doesn't make any sense because that's analogical thought society. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. They're sending troops. Can't wait. Can't wait. New York Patriot says they're sending North Korean troops to update their military gear from dead bodies. Oh, my. And don't forget those MREs, too, because they're probably hungry. They're probably pretty hungry. They look hungry in the picture. Starving to death. Starving to death. This is in the news. CNN article. And this pisses me off for a variety of reasons. Central Park 5 members sue Trump for defamation after his debate comments on 1989 case. Members of the Central Park 5 sued former President Trump on Monday over false and defamatory statements they allege he made about their 1989 case during a presidential debate last month. The 5 men claim in a federal lawsuit Trump knew he was acting with reckless disregard for the truth when he said during the September debate with Vice President Harris that they pleaded guilty to crimes connected to the beating and raping of a woman in New York City, and the 5 teenagers badly hurt a person, killed a person in the attack. Defendant Trump's statements were false and defamatory, in numerous respects. Attorney for the men, now all in their 50s, wrote in the lawsuit, plaintiffs never pled guilty to Central Park assaults. Plaintiffs all pled not guilty and maintained they're innocent throughout their trial and incarceration, as well as after they were released from prison. None of the victims of the Central Park assaults were killed. The lawyers for Yusef Salon, Raymond Santana, Kevin Richardson, Antron Brown, and Corey Wise wrote. Trump campaign spokesperson Stephen Cheung called the lawsuit another frivolous election interference lawsuit that he claimed was brought to distract the American people from Kamala Harris's dangerously liberal agenda and failing campaign. The men are seeking compensatory and punitive damages. The suit also claims that Trump's comments placed them in a false light and caused them to suffer severe emotional distress. Bullshit. What he's referring to, they may have pled innocent in court, but they admitted guilt while in jail. Okay? When they were arrested, they confessed. And they were guilty. They did not commit a specific rape, but they were there and they did aid and abet the situation. And they were the 5 that got caught. Remember, there was like 60 teenagers involved in this. And it was from like 9 p.m. to about 1 in the morning. And as the gauntlet was closing and the police were surrounding the park and squeezing it in to try to flush everybody out, that was attacking and severely beating these joggers and everybody. These are the 5 that got caught trying to escape. They were guilty. They admitted it to police at the time. Whether they pled not guilty in court or not is beside the point. And it kills me because of the spin that's been put on all of this by Al Sharpton. Ladybug says last week they received a kit to have their poop evaluated. It came with a prepaid return postage. It was said to be sent by the insurance company. Not myself nor my doctor requested this. I didn't fall for this. That is weird. And Tommy says the rich and the poor, oh, they're putting Proverbs up again. I'll go ahead and post that. Proverbs 22:2. It just killed. They didn't suffer emotional distress because Trump mentioned something about them. It is a frivolous lawsuit. It's more bullshit. It kills me, the spin that's been put on all of that about them. And it offends me that one of them is actually a politician now. Like we can trust or rely on these people for anything. That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. It says Trump has long been outspoken in the case, which rocked New York in the late 1980s during a time when he was a leading figure in the city's real estate and celebrity scene. At the time, Trump took out full-page ads that ran in several New York City newspapers that read in all caps, "Bring back the death penalty, bring back our police." And here they are now posing because they're like celebrities. And that just drives me nuts. Kamala says nothing about Kamala, who actually locked people up for minor drug offenses and recommended sentences beyond what the law allowed, while joking about smoking weed on the Breakfast Club radio show. No, of course not. Because now she's all for that. She's running on the platform of legalizing recreational marijuana across the country from a federal perspective. That's her current platform. Reproductive rights, legal marijuana, and, whatever her BS talking points are. Illegal. She claims that she's going to crack down on illegal immigration. She's not. Again, she's offering to do things that could have already been done. And the whole legalizing marijuana thing is pandering. Pandering to get the, quote, black vote. Because from her perspective, that's what black people do all day, sit around and smoke weed. And ditch work and ditch school. And granted, there is a very cultural aspect to that, unfortunately, that many people in black culture fall into. But it's not all of them, and it's an insult to any of them in our country who do hold down a steady job and are responsible. It's an insult. And the people that she thinks she's pandering to by offering recreational marijuana, they're not going to go out and vote anyway. Patriot also says she was forced by the California Supreme Court to release evidence that would exonerate a man who was on death row. Yeah, she wants to keep that notch in her belt. It's much more important than a man's life. And Gary said, the purpose of a frivolous lawsuit is to raise suspicion in the minds of the public against a certain person. It's a cheap form of libel. Yeah. And I've read his entire speech. I've read that entire speech or the dialogue that was printed in the newspaper the day after the Central Park incident. Very impassioned and calling for, just because it had been the whole summer. It had just been violence, just tons of violence in New York, some of the worst that they had seen in decades. And he's basically pleading, come on, we've got to do something. We've got to do something. He didn't name those kids. Innocent? If they were so innocent, they wouldn't have gotten caught by police in Central Park at 1:30 in the morning. What's a 14, 15-year-old kid doing running around in Central Park at like 1:30 in the morning? And he's what is he, like, passing out Gideon's Bibles? Helping old ladies cross the street? Gary thinks that frivolous lawsuits should be punishable by jail time. But with that, we are at the top of the hour, so I will go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Coffee Talk and Prepper University on YouTube. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. Special thanks to Kimberly, who made a donation to the channel today. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone else who was able to join us here today. Glad you could make it. Hope you got something out of it.